So when I was younger and I was in college, I had a dormitory room that had cement blocks in it, and I didn't want to look at the cement block wall anymore. So I went to the Metropolitan Library, and I had covered the walls of the dormitory room in photocopies of things that I had liked. And one of the images that I liked was a Chinese gong, and I found this styrofoam dish today, and I'm like, even with these two holes in it, I'm like, you know what? This is going to make a really, really cool Chinese gong. One of the most important issues of this is that we need to cover this styrofoam dish in gold reflective paint. So I'm going to go through my collection today and I'm going to choose out my most radiant gold acrylic that I have. And here it is. I'm using an Alpha Acrylic Gold 997. It's called Rich Gold. Now, you probably say, well, why can't you just spray paint that with something? If you apply spray paint to styrofoam, you're not going to have a plate left. It will eat it to death. So we are going to use this, and let's see what this looks like after it's painted. I am using a Chinese brush. It's so amazing that you'd be making a Chinese gong with a Chinese brush. So basically what I'm doing is I am very, very carefully moving the acrylic paint into the surface of the gong. And what I don't want to do is I don't want to have brush strokes. I want to actually create a metal surface to look like a metal surface. Now what I'm doing here is I'm using a stenciling motion, which looks like hammered metal. And once we get the first coat on, I gotta be very careful with this. Once we get the first coat on, if I would like to, I can do a second coat. So here is our gong. This is the first layer we did. I used the Chinese brush, and I have to tell you something, that these brushes are very, very fragile, and the gold was clogging into the brush. It took me about 10 minutes with this type of motion to twisting and getting all of that gold out of there. So if you're using an acrylic gold like this, work fast to move that gold around. This is layer number 2. And there, our second layer is complete. Let's just completely dry, and let's see if we need a third coat. A very crucial part of our design is what our gong is going to look like. I had looked at several different antique stores online, and I had made a composite of different types of gongs that I had liked. So this is what the design is going to look like. Now let's look at see what kind of materials we're going to use to make that gong. Here on the prop shop floor, we've got a very large piece of pink foam. It's about 1 inch thick. It was about $2 American for that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to map out the gong on the foam, and then we're going to cut it out. So let's do the mapping now. Here's our design again. Let's see what this looks like. Yeah, so using a blue permanent magic marker, I had mapped out pretty much precisely what the gong's going to look like. And on the bottom, these two areas are going to be the feet. So let's cut this out. Once you get all your pieces cut out and assembled, it should look something like this. And a very important rule to remember as a prop maker, do not throw away your extra styrofoam. The next part we're going to do is we're going to put the sticky paper on there. This is a cover-up sheet, which is the artificial wood, and this only cost me $2 for 80 by 50 centimeters. And then what we're going to do before we put the sticky paper on the surfaces, we're going to paint the external areas that are not going to be stickered brown, the same color brown. So we need to find out this color in our acrylic collection. I have taken out different types of brown acrylics that I have in my collection. The Van Dyke brown turned out to be too dark. It's almost a black. The burnt sienna was too red. So we end up using a 925 burnt umber. Now we're going to paint the edges of our gong. We have to make so many choices now with the gong. See how amazingly the Chinese brush just made that so flat, and it came out so perfectly. The gold just settled down with no brush strokes. The other thing is that we could put a ring of black around this piece, and here in the center we can paint this black. But the one thing I want to do is I want to dull this down. I want to make this look like an antique. So we're going to make a acrylic slurry, and we're going to put that on there, and then we're going to buff it out. I had a strategic plan that I was going to put a black ring here, but I decided to create the inner halo here in black instead, as if it was corroded. And then I wanted to paint the outer ring of our project here darker. And what I'm doing is I'm using a 2-inch brush and just dragging the color up. Once you get all of your sides painted with the appropriate color, it is time now to put on the sticker. Once we start getting our sticker on, we're going to start completing the whole entire project here. It goes on very easily. And once you get the sticker on, it should look like this. Continuing the work on our Chinese Gong, the first thing is that I have 1 centimeter or 1/4 inch white foam over here, which we want to cut out 4 raised area pieces, and then we're also going to apply these. These actually came off of a children's toy, and I want to make them gold or brass and put all 4 on the corner. So we're gonna gild those up and cut those styrofoam blocks out. Let's make it happen. Now today we're using a burnt umber 19 to create the foam into the same color as our gong, and then after we finish that, we are going to gild these round styrofoam pop-out toy wheels, rich gold 997. So let's see what these are going to look like. Let's do them. Amazingly, the first layer that we put on the styrofoam blocks actually got transparent. And then the second problem I just encountered was that the paint of the gold would not adhere to the slippery surface of the toy. So I had come up with the idea of layering up the gold like this, so it actually looked like it was forged or made. And I'm just going to let these guys sit and dry. If I put a hairdryer on them, it'll be destroyed because it'll flatten out. But in this case, this is going to be a much different texture. Next cool and awesome thing I wanted to show you are these little guys. You put that through a piece of paper and then you fold out the legs like this, so you can make something that revolves or turns or something. Well, my daughter had a school project and she brought this thing home, and my wife was throwing away her stuff that she didn't want anymore. And I said, no, don't throw anything away. In the life of a prop maker, you never know where all your resources are coming from. So we're going to take these silver pieces right here and we're going to gild them. We want to add them to our gong, so I want to make these old. So the first thing is we're going to lay them up with black. He does not want to stay. That's okay. Great, I get it all on video too, which is kind of cool. Alright, stay there. Alright, we're going to let these guys dry and we're going to gild them. This is really great because we have our black water that was left over from our previous painting, and I'm just going to use that same water. I'm using gold, and I'm going to make a slurry out of this. I just want to very carefully dab it on there. Hopefully this time I'm going to push these little guys down so they're stuck into the styrofoam, so I don't have to deal with that again. There. Just enough to put the gold on the black. they're gilded. Okay, we're gonna let those dry. Okay, let's do an assemblage. Now we're gonna use one of our pins, one of our circles. Stick it right through. Like that. Also, we're going to do a wash on top of this with black, so don't worry about that. We're going to do that before we put them on our piece. So let's get the black up and paint those around. Oh, very easily. Now with the top part, once you get that going, you're going to make a wash out of your water. You want to add that over the gold to age it. I just finished all 4 of them, and I can't wait to see what they look like when they're dry, but that looks really good. We had just put them on. I just glued them on. You can probably see a little bit of white glue up there, but that's what they're going to look like. So I've got my bases here. I put the gold trim around there like I did on the rest of the gong, and then I had made these 4 pins out of coat hanger that I had used. I cut them, chopped them up, and then we're going to drive these pins successfully, hopefully, through here. And then we're going to take our hot glue gun and we're going to hot glue them into place and then paint over them. Okay, so now we got our gong standing up and our sides are painted. In the final countdown of our gong, I have found 2 really nice pieces of string, and I want to punch with an awl my holes where they're going to be approximately on the gong to make them hold, and then I'm going to attach them to the back and we should see a finished product. And there it is. The last part we need to create is the mallet. In my collection of stuff I have piles and piles of old paintbrushes. This one is still good and in use. However, the one that I have thrown away is going to become the mallet. I took my feel of clay and I created a handle. You can look at different types of handles of gongs. I really like this one. The last piece we need to do is put the ball on here. The part that we need to do, now this has actually been dried, so it actually took 2 days to dry that. So I'm going to now paint this the approximate same color of brown as the gong. We also knew that we had 2 colors. We used the burnt umber on the wood, and we also had decoration of gold. So I'm going to be using those 2 colors also on the mallet. I'm going right into my burnt umber 624 with my soft brush. I'm going to be doing this in 2 sections. The first part is I'm going to paint the mallet handle, and a bit of the stem, and then I'm going to run it under a hairdryer. So let me finish that and I'll let you see what it looks like. That dried so well. That just took like a minute under the hairdryer. If you've seen my other tutorial videos on the Harry Potter wands that I had done, the magic wands, then you'll see that using a hairdryer in any type of process is really successful. Here I'm just applying a pretty heavy coat. You'd never know that was a paintbrush. I just like that there's grooves and lines on that. So not that you're going to see that on the photo shoot, but hey, it's going to come out pretty good. So I'm going to blow dry this part, and then we're going to add the soft bangy part. This is a 2-inch styrofoam ball I had in my collection. If you are a prop maker, you have got truckloads of stuff. Anyone who says that they're a prop maker and do not have pack rat piles of stuff in their collection, I would question as a prop maker, because we hoard unbelievable amounts of material. So I just went right into the box and went, oh, there it is. So this is from another photo shoot we didn't do. I'm going to attach that on there with some hot glue. Hopefully the hot glue is going to melt right in here so I can fuse those 2 pieces together. So let's put the hot glue on and make it. And you know your hot glue is ready to go when you can smell that glue. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a coating of hot glue around the top and just see how well that sits on there. Remember, it's a styrofoam ball. I mean, it is absolutely lightweight. So that may just stick on there immediately. Oh, that's it. That's perfect. I don't have to worry about anything else. It's melted right on there. The hot glue just melted that right on there. That's our gong mallet. Damn. That came out really cool. All right. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to put a layer of gold over here. We also want to kind of cover this. A lot of these gong mallets had like a flocking put on them or some kind of fabric, but in this case we may just paint that gold and maybe put a black line around there. So let's see what this looks like after it's been decorated. This is the final product. The gong mallet came out very well. I'm just letting it hang to the side over there. The back piece was a little bit low, so I actually put a spacer in the back to raise it back up a bit, but I'm very happy with the finished product. It'll be in our photo shoot.